Hi guys. I have decided to share some of my experiences um, before we start working on some uh, important theories that you will be asked on your midterm exams today. This week. Well, I think most of you already took my previous lessons with under name of multimedia or um, a web programming one. Somehow, you know, the school is changing my my class name, but I'm teaching one thing, and most of you are bored and kind of maybe thought it was annoying because I've been repeating myself for the last year and a half. But today, as per your some of your requests, I've decided to include my one and only experience. You won't find anything like this on any of the YouTube videos. Okay, let's get started. Because I'm not reading any script, I'm speaking really slow. Okay. Okay. Now, you know what? Um, every teacher, every professor, every instructor kind of leave a trace um, in students' mind. You agree, right? So, for my case, when I was learning, well, not MIU, but I will try to include MIU things later on. But I am giving you my experience, what I've learned when I was at the design school in my master's degree in Korea. And well, as I said, I went to um, Gyeongbuk National University, and um, in the design department. It was under name of visual communication design, and I had these four professors, and the third professor was my advisor, and I've learned a lot from him. And I tried to remember what every big thing that I've learned from them. So this a lot of things I will explain later, but these are the things I've learned from my advisor professor, and others are these other three professors. Okay, my my advisor professor is creator of these lots of work designs. He's got his um, design studio Y. I am happy that I I had a chance to like work on some of his projects. Well, my ideas wasn't worthy enough to put in the real um, in in the real business, real design, but I've kind of worked on some of them when I was there. For example, this character design one, this one, this one. I was kind of I worked on this, but this was not my final set. But somehow like that. So what I have learned from him was these four things. First is design solves a problem. It should solve a problem. So he always said this sentence um, every time, every lesson I took from him. So he said I should ask myself. We the students should ask ourselves, does my design solve any problem? Okay, so you guys should too. Okay, the second thing I understood was writing down everything with a pen and pencil on a paper, traditional paper, is really helpful. Well, he usually, when he talks about theories and principles, he showed us uh, a PowerPoint or any other uh, lecture notes, and he made us to write it down on our notebooks, not type, but on a paper. He let us write it down, all of them, even though it takes time and it's really annoying because this is a digital world, right? We can just type it down or just record it, but that's the problem. He said our common mistake is to think that we know everything because we have the access to the internet, we have the digital device, smart device, smarter than us. It's a smart device in our hand or near our heads. So that's the problem. So he gave us time to think, like, what do you have in your mind, what knowledge, what information you have in your mind if you don't have the access to the internet or any digital device. So it's a really thoughtful thing, right? You have to think. It's worth it. Worth it, okay? The third thing was even one pixel changed everything. One pixel is everything. Make it perfect so that no one loses a cent. So it is like when designing something, these are the not PowerPoint. I like drag these to a PowerPoint. These are the designs I designed for you guys, lecture notes. For example, what he said was one pixel is important. Well, this is Illustrator, so it doesn't show any pixel, but you know it moves, right? One thing. So if you put something, if you make a mistake, something like this, it changes everything. You lose the users, you lose the audience. So you have to make it perfect like this. Click on the shift and no line that goes over other line, something like that. So that's what he always told us. Because design is a business, right? You design for someone. If you design for someone else's work, it's their business. If you make it perfect, they make lots of money. But if you make it so bad, no, I mean, if you change one pixel like mistakenly, and they will lose a lot. Could be. Okay. Okay. The fourth thing I've understood is he always told us was design is not based on a feeling. You just don't do it. It's a system, and research is like 70% of your design, and the actual designing with tools and sketching is actually 30% of the work, final work. So that's why until midterm we're doing some research and learning the theories and stuff, and the actual designing will be after the midterm. Yes, it's yeah, I know, but you have to. It is really important. So that's why he can do these things, I think, based on what he told us. Okay, now the second professor was the opposite, really the opposite. He was just do it, start doing something, just feel yourself with your like listen to your music and do something, start designing. no research or stuff. Well, he did the research because he made some of the he's more on industrial designing and architectural designing professor. My advisor professor is more like into like branding. this, and he also uh, designed his own coffee shop. It's the interior. He made everything. Well, I think his wife and he is really good with um, handmade things, small things. Also, he said when the students when we visited his coffee shop, he said he made all these small things, interior designs. He made everything inside the coffee shop, he said, with his wife. Well, I think he's good with interior design and industrial designing. He designed these metro exterior design. What should I say? Yeah. Okay, he was that professor. What I understood was, well, you just do it. You start doing it. Like you start coding it, or you start drawing with the tool, and you start it. That's what he told us. That's what I learned. Okay. So the second thing was make friends with your students. Well, I would. Well, I want to, like, if there were no quarantine and COVID-19 or something. Oh, well, I enjoy spending time with students. I did when I was in the first semester. Sorry, I had to pause the video. The baby woke up. Okay. And the third thing I get to understand was empathy is the key when designing something. Well, this is the thing we've been talking about for the last two lessons, right? Design thinking. So the first step on the design thinking cycle, the process was the empathy, understanding people. So you understand people, get what they want, understand what they feel when they're using something. It's their problem, finding their problem is the key thing when designing something. And the fourth thing I understood from this professor was you actually learn if you teach. So he made us he gave us a topic to study on or our own, and he made us to make teaching notes and teach the other students. Like we were the instructors for our class. We taught each other. Yeah, that was the thing. Okay, the third professor was, well, these two professors I took I think only one class each of them, so I didn't really get to spend lots of time with these two professors, but these are the things I understood. Okay, from this professor, well, he is more into his work. Well, these are the student work, but is also more into like feeling and just do it type of person. These are student work, but if you just look at it, this is one student, this is one student work. Oh, and I got the idea that I want to tell you guys. How about we make something like this for our class? Because you're about to graduate, you've got to have a portfolio on your own, even if it's a design or anything, web design program, or well, anything. You have to make it visually attractive for the bosses, right? For the HR people, you have to persuade the people who will be hiring you. So how about we design a web that it at least one page. Well, these are not web-based designs. There are their student portfolio. These are actually same age with you guys. These students. They were the senior students. Um, they did these for their graduation portfolio group, and the professor guided these students were that this professor, where this professor, what I understood from him was you have to look at things from a highly different perspective, with totally different perspective than the usual people. I mean, than what people would see. Like if you're looking at a person, when you're taking a picture of a person, you just don't make like a portrait. You have to take a picture from like bottom left, right corner, or you have to take a picture up above and make the person move, like make a pose in just a different kind of ways. Well, I'm not good at photography. I'm not a photographer. I'm just the editor. Okay, so well, actually, that's not only in photography. It's when you're designing something, you design something that most people won't do. Think differently. Yeah, I think that was the thing. You have to think different. Yeah. And the second thing was analog printing, handmade printing. Everything handmade, everything analog, like ink printing, stamping, and like sewing the notebooks. Those kind of designs he was into. And he was like, digital designing is not really good. Well, just one perspective, right? Okay, the final professor, well, I took only one lesson, and he was into more typography. He was in lettering and typography, calligraphy. I couldn't find any of his work online, but what I get to understand was he made us do whatever we want for the project. He was like 100% free, and I think what I understand now is he made us to feel shamed. Like after a few years later, I was so ashamed to look at my work I did that time. It is totally 100% ugly. Well, I think I learned something. I did learn while I was learning. Understanding the assignment. Well, I don't know if this type of teaching method is good, but yes, I think I did understand some stuff of it. And yeah, for your file, I said I want you to. Oh, not again. Okay, let's continue. Okay, for your finals, you're submitting your prototype of your final web design, but at least it should include a 3 to 5 pages. Okay, and but for the if you submit after you submit your final, I want to post it again. Oh, I really want to post your designs on social media, to see what to see and get some feedbacks from your friends or any random users, because it's a really big learning step. Okay. Well, Anyway, we will talk about that later. But for your homework today, I know I will go through after this slide. I will go through the the usual boring theory that you will be asked on the midterm exam, but that's later. Okay. What's important for this week is your one and only homework for this week is your brand logo. Okay, try to design the logo. Well, I highly recommend using this after Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator for your logo, because every designer does. I think most designers do their design and work on their logo designs on this Adobe Illustrator, because it's vector. You can't see the pixels. Okay, it works with vectors. Okay, so that's your brand logo. We will talk about it online, and yes, online, both of them online for more in detail. Now let's go back to our, okay, let me open it. Now we're back to our usual slide. So I think two of you is my first, I mean, it's your first time taking my class. Okay, so I should really go through these for your midterm or any other future career, helping your future career. Okay, sorry about that. Now we are making a website, right? So to make that website usable and useful, but also with a very cool or cute design, we need to study these. Since we have only one semester, okay, am I recording? Stop recording. Okay, yes, I am recording. Okay. Now we have got to study and at least go through just a little bit of these to do our project. So, well, if you have any questions, you can just send me a private message on Facebook. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so first two part of this slide is about mostly studying the principles before the midterm, as I said. User experience designing. Now the first UX design, user experience designing, it is about planning and building the skeleton and bones, the solid structure of your website. Okay, designing UX is like designing the shape and positioning of the bones of a human. If you think the website as a human, that's my usual example. Okay, sorry about that. So to find out the positioning of the joints of your design, we need to know and learn how to do the direction designing, wireframe, user research, information architecture, scenario designing, persona, and prototyping. Okay, the next part is user interface. You can say it is the muscles, fat and skin added to the bones. As you can see, it is about visual design, layout, typography, color coding, branding, and content preparation. The third part is after we learn some principles and do some planning and sketches, we have to implement the bones and wireframes with tools. Photoshop for photo editing, Illustrator for vector illustrations, some maybe simple animations with sound, and graphics with After Effects. And lastly, we'll have if we have time, it's up to you, but you can make your design into more dynamic with some coding, make it alive and moving. Okay, well, I'm not really good at coding and stuff, so I'm leaving this part to you. Okay, cool. So we will have a look at wireframe and some basic steps of UX designing first. Okay, let's go through that bottom part. bottom UX experience part first. So you make the flowchart of your data contents that your website is going to hold. As my usual example, this is my site. If you mouse over the menu buttons, you get the choices of 3 another pages: President Office, Goal, and About Us. If you look at that's sample, bottom sample flowchart, a website flowchart, you have like homepage. From the homepage, you can have 5 big menus under it, and go so on and on. So this is just simple flowchart. So you have to decide what your website is going to hold as a big menus and chunks. How you divide your information, how you divide your data, images and texts. Big information. So you have to find the structure of your content. That's for this flowchart. And for the designing part, you have to, for the positioning and designing part, you have this flowchart. Whyframe. Whyframe is putting those big menus, big chunks of data into in a visual way. But Whyframe stage, it is just lines and yes, just lines. Okay, so this is just a Whyframe. You have to do flowchart and Whyframe. Okay, and for the flowchart, well, you can Google as a sitemap or information architecture or structure of a website or activity diagram for a website or flowchart. Well, you can find any, you can Google any of these words, keywords, and find similar ones for your website. Okay. Now, so that was just 2 things you have to do: Whyframe and information architecture for your websites. That's a really big bones and skeleton of your website. Okay, important step. You have to do it by next week. Okay. Now let's go through some of your midterm exam questions. Spoiler alert. Sorry about that. It looks ugly and tiring, but well, if you research more on them and apply to your designs, it is actually fun, and really it sounds it is cool. Okay, now the first thing is there are 7 factors which influence the experience of using a product. For our case, it's a website. Okay, first is whether it's a website or ATM machine screen with buttons or video game, it should be useful. Okay, if a product isn't useful to someone, why would you want to bring it to a market? It should be useful at least in emotional help. Okay, the second is usable. Usability. Okay, usability is concerned with enabling users to achieve their end product objectives with a product efficiency and efficiently. Okay, well, it should be usable. Okay, if the game requires 3 hands when you have only 2, it's not usable. Okay. Sorry about that. My usual and stupid examples. Okay. Sorry. People should be able to use the product with what they have as an experience or knowledge in their mind. Their mind. Okay, the third thing is a product should be findable. The product must be easy to find. And in instance of this digital and information products, the content within them must be easy to find too. Okay. Ability to find, easy to find. Well, it is an essential usability consideration for all products, all kinds of products, including website, regardless of whether they are physical devices, systems, or, as I said, websites. Okay. Okay, the fourth one is credibility. Well, this century of internet and information data, users can and leave in a matter of seconds and clicks unless you give them reason to stay. What can you understand from this sentence? Your website should be cool. Okay. We must be creative with any cost in order not to lose any users to other better websites with similar functions. Okay. The fifth one is desirability. It is about choosing Apple computer or Acer computer. Which would you choose to buy if you have that much of money? Okay, well, if you have, you could just choose it, but well, they're Apple computers, they're expensive. Okay, now the sixth is accessibility. It is about providing an experience which can be accessed by users with full range of abilities, hearing, vision, motion, or even learning impaired. Okay, we previous we have talked about the airport wayfinding sign design previously, right? A few slides back, a few days back, few weeks back. Okay, final one. The product should be valuable. So what does this mean? A product must deliver value to the business which creates it and to the user who buys it or uses it. So users will choose $1 product that solves $100 problem rather than a $10 problem. Right? Did you get it? Okay, I hope you get it. Okay, of all those factors, was it 7 of it? Okay, of all those factors, you can say the usability is the most important criteria when it comes to designing and using our product. So let's see how the internet describes it. So to extent to which a product can be used by specified users to achieve specified goals with effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction in a specified context of use. Okay, well, I think we have to go through the second sentence. Usability is hence more than just about whether users can perform tasks easily, but it is also concerned with the user satisfaction. So for a website to be useful, it has to be engaging and aesthetically pleasing too. So it is about UX and UI, right? Okay. Now, usability. Okay. There are 5 criteria that a product must meet so as to be useful. Usable. Okay. First is effectiveness. It is about whether users can complete their goals with a high degree of accuracy, which means the back button should go back, green button should go forward. There should be no error. Second is efficiency. It's about how fast can the user get the job done, how many clicks, steps, and or keystrokes. As we said before, this century people will leave your website if it doesn't give the speed they want. If it like zoom zoom and they leave it. Okay. Third is engagement. It is about the aesthetics. It is about how beautiful it is. But as you can see here, I put being right is better than being nice. So design with the right color or layout in the right context is better than just being have a nice picture or color. So you have to find the right ones. Okay, so The fourth is error tolerance. It is about minimizing the errors from occurring in the first place, and to ensure that your users can easily recover from an error and get back to what they were doing. Okay, like asking, "Are you sure to do this function?" Like before leaving an uncompleted page or deleting a big file. Yeah, that's error tolerance. Okay. Now the final is ease of learning. When you update your already released product or already uploaded a website, you should give the users how to use the update, or explain what the update of downloading loads of things was about. Okay. Okay. Now, well, another explanation of usability with less text is, I got it from UX Bytes from on Instagram. You can find about it, UX Bytes. And usable product, usable website should be efficient. It gives feedback, meaning the site should tell people where you've done things wrong if there's an error. It should be easy to navigate, easy to find the menu you're looking for. It should be usable. It should be consistent, meaning if you used red color for cancel button, you can't use the red color again for the accept button, the next page. Okay, right? That's for the consistency. Okay, the usable product should be prevent errors. If you're about to make an error, it should tell you beforehand, "Oh, you're about to make this error. Are you sure?" Okay, right? And also it should feel familiar. You should have similar functionality to other frequently used websites, so that people don't have to learn how to use your website. People are lazy, they don't have time, they're lazy. I'm sorry, I'm lazy. Okay, well, they're too busy to learn new things, right? Am I right? No? Okay. So your web design should fulfill these usability factors and criteria. Oh, but there are more. Brace yourselves, pause the video, bring a cup of coffee or something you like. For my case, it's a coffee. Okay, let's go. Let's check if I'm recording. I hope I'm recording. I'm not talking to myself. Okay. So there are, well, this model looks it might look simple, it might look complicated, but it is just a piece of poster. Should include your piece of poster or piece of page should include texts, words and visuals, images and space, like how can I say, space, meaning your website can be usable. I mean, it can be on mobile device or TV screen or on the billboard. I mean, electric billboard on the road. Well, that space, and your website page can be used anytime, nighttime or daytime, on a bus, on a train, and in how they would feel. That's just how a piece of design should include. That's the 5 dimensions of interaction design. Piece of design that is interactable. Okay. For the detail, the first is the first dimension is words. So words are, well, it is communicating information to users, right? It should be meaningful and it should be simple to understand. Okay, as it is trying to say, people are they don't have time to read lots of text when they're running or moving. Well, yeah, texts are the things that users don't usually enjoy, right? Okay, it should be really simple. It should include the very right content. It should be quick to understand. Okay, second dimension is visuals. Well, visual arts, I mean, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's the proverb that we can hear anywhere, somewhere around on the web, on the internet. Well, it means just a single image can convey multiple ideas. So you have to choose right image for the right content. It should convey multiple meanings. Okay, third dimension is space. It is actually saying that the physical objects user interact within certain environment, a mouse, touchpad, a stylus, or the environment you are while you're interacting with the computer interface. Well, the design should be easy and usable when in crowded bus or a quiet office area. Well, for example, you know, the bus routing application. The button should be bigger or closer to thumbs on smartphone, because people would be using the bus application outside when walking or even running. Okay, fifth dimension is time. What do you think it is? Okay, well, it is the amount of time a user spend interacting with the product. Have to increase it. So have to increase the amount of time they spend with your website. What do you think? Maybe some animations and videos and sounds that people easily engage with, not text and still images, I think. Well, it is, but you when you're browsing over, scrolling over Facebook, you would watch the videos more than just reading text posts, right? That's who we are. Maybe you are different. Maybe that's just what I am. Anyways, the last dimension is behavior. It's not something you can see easily. It's the reactions of the users when, before or after using the product, and not before, when and after using the product. For instance, well, the emotional responses and feedbacks and comments and reactions and a heart button or the anger buttons. Okay. Now, let's get into some design laws with the names of the people who invented those laws. They will come in all of them will come in your midterm exams. So I'm giving you just the answers, okay? Well, the thing is, I'm just giving you just few sentences. Explaining just few sentences. So you have to Google about it more, okay? Okay, the first thing is von Restorff effect, also known as the isolation effect. Okay, what does the law imply is that people are the most likely to remember an object if it's visually different from the similar objects beside it. Well, this phenomenon can easily be seen in our everyday life, but the most seen example used in interaction design would be this: choosing payment method. When choosing payment method, making the most popular payment choice with this, a bit different by color or size or scale. So it pops up and people would click it on it first. People would see it first. So that's the isolation effect that designers use. Okay, it tries to make the people choose or prefer the most in a quickest way. Okay, another easy example would be highlighting the most bought item in shopping site, or highlighting the most chosen food menu on the cooking on a restaurant website or application. Okay, the next is Hicks law. It applies that amount of time that takes to make a decision increases with the number of complexity of choices. The more choices you have, the more time you give. Okay, so for the designers, when designing an interface, you should make the choices as few as possible so that people won't leave your site. Okay, yeah. Now, next is Fitts law. Is actually a prediction model of human movement, primarily used in human-computer interaction. We've talked about this scientific law predicts that the time required to rapidly move to a target area is a function of the ratio between the distance to the target and the width of the target. Well, it is a difficult sentence, but it is a fancy way of saying that the longer the distance, the smaller the target size, the longer it takes to click or touch. Yeah, right? It is about it's talking about the button sizes. Which of the two is easier for you? If it was an app or even it's a website, which would you click easily? Okay. The next law is Zeigarnik effect. It implies that people remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed tasks. So this law, with this effect, usually used in RPG video games, that a player should complete quests to finish the goal, something like that. Okay, you're most likely to remember this uncompleted task than completed one, right? You can see it, right? Okay. Now, final slide. Okay. The next is serial position effect. People have a tendency to best remember the first and the last item in a series, which means you have to emphasize the key important information in the beginning and the end, while placing least important items in the middle of your sequence. Okay, your homework addition to your logo design and wireframe and flowchart is to research more about these laws. Okay, good luck, but you have 2 weeks. Okay.